What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So has the race for the House tightened? I want to talk a little bit about this with all the redistricting out there. I want to show you guys a clip first, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the House race. Are Democrats going to be able to take back control of the House? Do Republicans have an advantage right now? And then I want to break down the polling average websites to the prediction market. We'll take a look at all of that as well. So we're going to do all of that in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video. If you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. So let's go ahead and play the clip. And we'll talk a little bit about this as we watch it, because there are a few things that I want to point out to you guys. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. Here we go.
But I think this poll serves as a big-time reality check for Democrats, and that is, it ain't over yet, especially with the redistricting when we look ahead to the 2026 race for Congress. You would have thought that the Democrats' lead would expand on the generic congressional ballot. It didn't happen. Look, in March, Democrats were up by 6 points. Look at this now. Democrats are up by 3 points, and I want you to note the yellow lettering. No clear leader. It is within the margin of error. So despite all of the talk about Donald Trump's unpopularity, the fact is Republicans very much remain in the game when it comes to the congressional midterms, which are occurring in what, 6 or 7 months at this point?
Yes.
Okay, one thing I want to bring your attention to. So if we're looking at that margin of error that he's talking about, the margin of error is plus or minus 3.5%. So the plus or minus 3.5% could mean that it's higher by 3.5%, which would put it at above the 6 points that we saw in March. And so because we're only looking at one poll, and I don't like looking at just one poll, I like to look at, a variety of different polls, and I'll show you that at the end of this after we watch this clip. But because we're only looking at one poll, we have to look at that margin of error and say, okay, this poll could just be an outlier. It might not be what the normal polls are showing us. And so in this situation, looking at that margin of error, 3.5%, you can really argue that the numbers really haven't changed because they're still within that margin of error.
And don't call me Shirley. So a lead of 3 points in the generic ballot test here. Does that get the job done?
No, it might not actually get the job done. And I love any reference to Airplane, I will say, and Leslie Nielsen. Look at this. Okay, take a look here. Democrats in the National House vote margin. According to my estimate, what they need for control with redistricting in terms of the national popular vote is somewhere of a win between 3 and 4 points. What's CNN's current poll with no clear leader? It's a 3-point advantage. If this were, in fact, the actual result come Election Day, the race for Congress, the race for the House, would be basically a toss-up. And that is why the redistricting efforts that have been happening are so important. Because before the redistricting happened, Democrats essentially just needed to win the National House popular vote in order to win control of the House of Representatives. But
okay, and it's getting a little small, so I just want to show you before they zoom out. But you see the margin of error here. It's 3.2% plus or minus. So this is another situation where it could be higher than that 3 to 4 percentage points. Or it could be much lower. It could be down almost below 1 point or below 1%. So you have to look at that margin of error if we're just looking at one poll. Now, when I show you the aggregate of polls, when I show you more polls, and you'll get a better idea of this poll compared to some of the other polls that are current and that are out there right now.
now, with the redistricting, their ladder, they have to climb ever higher, and a 3-point win may very well not do it. This is well within the realm of possibilities. Could be Democrats take back the House. You know, if Democrats outperform the CNN poll by a few points, they take it back. But they could underperform as well, and that would be big-time trouble. As I said at the start here, this game is most certainly not over. Republicans very much in the race for the House of Representatives. They're in that game.
All right, I was saying, you know, the president's approval on the economy. The president is just 30%, 70% disapproval. Those are, I think, the worst numbers he has ever had. But if his numbers are so bad, then why aren't Democrats benefiting?
Yeah, that's exactly it, Johnny B. Look, we talk about, you know, economic approval rating for the president. We talk about the net approval rating among registered voters. If we look among registered voters, the net approval rating, he's 36 points under. Where to go? There's no way Republicans could possibly hold on to the House. But look at this. Which party is trusted more in the economy? It's a tie among registered voters. Just because Donald Trump is unpopular doesn't make Democrats popular. And when you match Democrats against Republicans, all of a sudden it is a dead heat.
Oftentimes, Republicans enjoy an advantage on the economy, though, so tide may not be great for them, but still a huge disparity there between these two numbers. All right, we're talking about Democrats' chances, maybe not as big as they were a few weeks ago. You know, what are the chances? A few weeks ago, I think we were saying Republicans, they could get blown out.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's, I think, the other thing. Even if Republicans don't hold on to Congress, look, the chance of a blowout, that has shrunk considerably. Look at the cash prediction market. Chance that the GOP wins under 193 seats, you need 218 for control in the 2026 midterms. A month ago was a 48% chance they won under 193 seats. Now it's just 19%. So basically, Republicans have shifted the playing field. They're in the game, and the chance of a Democratic blowout, that is way, way down.
A much different environment today than it was just a few weeks ago. Harriet, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so you see, this is going to be a close race, okay? And just even looking at that polling, it's showing us that it's going to be a close race. But I want to take a look at the generic congressional ballot. I want to look at some different pollsters, not just one poll. I want to see an average of the different pollsters and see what numbers we come up with. So looking at the generic congressional ballot, now we're looking at the average, okay? So if we move into the top, this is Real Clear Politics that we're using, showing Democrats at plus 6.6. So you have Republicans at 42.3. You have Democrats at 48.9. Now I want to look at some of the individual pollsters. So looking at some of the individual pollsters, you have Atlas Intel. This was conducted between 5.4 and 5.7. 2,069 adults. Now remember, adults, so you have adults, you have registered voters, and you have likely voters. Likely voters are people who likely vote. So they're people who voted in recent elections. Registered voters just means that you're registered to vote. Adults just means that you're an adult. And so you might not even be registered to vote. You might not have voted ever in your life before. Okay, so looking at this poll, it's showing Democrats at 55, Republicans at 40. Wow. So it's Democrats plus 15 there. Now this plus 15, this is going to skew the numbers here. So of course, this is 6.6. I believe it was in the fives before this. So because you have this plus 15, it boosts the number up. Okay. So this could be an outlier. Okay. Let's take a look at the next pollster here. You have the Economist YouGov conducted between 5.9 and 5.11, 1,410 registered voters, Democrats at 45. Republicans at 40, Democrats plus 5. Looking at the next pollster here, we have Reuters Ipsos, conducted between 5.8 and 5.11, 993 registered voters, Democrats at 41, Republicans at 35, Democrats plus 6. Looking at the next poll, we have Financial Times, conducted between 5.1 and 5.5. You have 3,167 registered voters. You have Democrats at 52, Republicans at 44, Democrats plus 8. And looking at RMG Research, we have that was conducted between 5.4 and 5.6, 2,000 registered voters. You have Democrats at 50, Republicans at 41, Democrats plus 9. And then here's the CNN poll right here, conducted between 4:30 and 5.4. And you look here, it just says registered voters. We don't have an amount, so we don't know. It could be just one registered voter, technically, right? But we don't have that information. So Democrats at 45, Republicans at 42. We have Democrats plus 3, and we'll do 2 more here. So we have the Forbes Harris poll. This was conducted between 4:29 and 5.5, 1,891 likely voters. You have Democrats at 48, Republicans at 46. Democrats plus 2. Now these are likely voters, so that's a little bit different there. It's showing us that these are people who voted in recent elections, and you do have a nice sample size there. One more here, Morning Consult, conducted between 4:30 and 5.3, 2,200 registered voters, Democrats at 46, Republicans at 43, Democrats plus 3. And so the main takeaway from this is we have a few pollsters that are showing it at 3 plus 3 plus 2. And then all the other pollsters, even if we go down a little bit, all the other pollsters are at least 5 points or above. So what that's telling us is that the CNN poll that we saw, that was on the lower end. So the higher end is plus 15, the lower end is around +2, +3. Now let's take a look at 270 to win. And what I want to focus mainly on here is I want to focus on what our current situation is. So 212 to 218. You need 218 in order to take control of the House. So Republicans right now, they're over 218. So that's why they're in control of the House. But we do have some seats that are open. That's why they have this asterisk here. So these seats need to be filled in special elections. But these are the current numbers. Now let's take a look at the forecast. The forecast right now is showing us 207 for the Democrats, 209 for the Republicans, and then 19 seats are toss-ups right now. Okay, so basically, and I talked about this in a previous video, when it comes to these toss-ups, we're really going to be paying close attention to them. And in the last months, the toss-ups have pretty much stayed the same, 18 or 19. They haven't really changed too much. Okay, looking at the prediction markets. So the prediction markets right now are showing that Democrats would get 227 and Republicans would be 204. And then you have 4 toss-ups there. And what's interesting about the prediction markets, when we're looking at the prediction markets, that's pretty instant. So people are, basically the prediction markets, you can bet on different events. And so people are betting on Democrats taking back control of the House. And so when we're looking at polls are in the past. So they conduct a poll and then they put out the information. That's why I go over the dates. But when we're looking at the prediction market, that's showing us how people feel right now, because that will change. Just like the stock market, it changes very, very fast. And so the main takeaway from all of this, when we're looking at the CNN poll, yes, it's a +3, and they were saying that it's going to be a very close race. I agree. The House race will be close, but Democrats are likely to win. Okay, Democrats still have the advantage. Even with the redistricting, they still have the advantage. And you could basically say, okay, on average, when we're looking historically, on average in this midterm election, the opposition party, or the Democrats in this case, they would probably win on average 20 seats. And so right now, Democrats need to net 3 seats. And let's say Republicans find a way to redistrict and, gain 10 seats. So they gain 10 seats, and we're looking at a situation where Democrats need to net 3 seats. So that's 13 seats total. But Democrats on average, they should be able to win 20 seats or more. Just depending on how things go, they would still have a cushion of 7 seats. Now, Democrats don't want it to be that close, but I'm just telling you, when it comes down to it, Democrats do still have an advantage. They still have the advantage when it comes to the House. When we're talking about the Senate, it's a little bit different. The Senate's going to be much closer. I do a lot of videos talking about the Senate right now because I think that's the most interesting part of this whole situation, the Senate. Will Democrats be able to take back the Senate? But when it comes to the House, I'm pretty confident that Democrats will still be able to take back the House. So we'll just have to see what happens in the future. But I want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below. Do you think this is possible? Do you think Democrats will be able to take back the House? Or you think Republicans will be able to defend the House and keep the majority? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.